Hello, class, and welcome to week 8. In week 8, this lab, you will not need to do a lab report, so I know you're glad about that. But we're going to do some simulations, and so it's a pretty cool lab. But before you click on the lab, there's a couple of simulations, and you need to click on these first. You want to right click on them and then open them up in a new tab for both of them because you're going to be going back and forth between the instructions and the simulations. So I've already clicked on them and they're up here at the top. So now I'm going to click on week 8 laboratory. It'll automatically come up for you, but since I'm in instructor's view, I'm going to hit the preview button. All right, and so when we're doing this lab, you do have one attempt, okay, for this. So make sure that if you can't complete it as you're going through, then make sure you do not submit it, okay, at the very bottom. You don't want to submit it until you've completely finished the lab. It will continuously save, okay? Every so often, it will save your work that you've done thus far. Just make sure that you don't submit it until you have completed all the questions. And so it talks about the two simulations, wave on a string and wave interference. And then here is the objectives to enhance your understanding of the nature of waves, investigate the single and double slit experiments, and understand how particles can have both wave-like and particle-like properties. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is launch the wave on a string. So that would be this one. Okay. And then you're going to use that to answer some of the questions. So you're actually answering questions 1 through, okay, 1 through 10 based on wave on the string, and then questions 11 all the way down to 21 for wave interference, okay? So that you know how the breakdown is for the questions. Okay, so the first part, the first couple of questions are asking you to do a little bit of reading from your this week's reading. You're going to answer the first two questions based on that. And then number 3 is where we actually get into the simulation. And so it says begin by selecting the oscillate button, checking the no in box, reduce the damping to none, and then observe your behavior. All right, so we want this to be oscillate. So up here in the upper left-hand corner, you will see the oscillate button. U1 in the upper right hand corner, you'll see no end. And then you'll see, once you click on that, you'll see your amplitude and your frequency. You'll see your damping, which you're going to put at none for this one. You can change your amplitude. Okay, you see how that changes your waves. Okay. And then you can also change your frequency, and you'll see how that makes a difference in your wave. The damping, you can also see what it does, and then your tension. Okay, you can see how the tension changes. You have a ruler, so if you need to measure your wavelength, okay, if you're measuring wavelength, it's either from the bottom of the wave, so we call these the troughs, from one bottom to the next, or the peak of the wave, or the top of the wave, we call them peaks, from one to the next peak, okay? And you can move your ruler around so that you can measure your peaks, okay? If you want to add a timer, or a reference line. Okay, so all of those are your functions. If you want to start from the beginning, you just hit restart. Okay, and then just reset all of your conditions. So your oscillation, no end, and then it'll start back. The other thing is slow motion. Okay, you can play around with that. All right. So those are different things that you can do in that first simulation. So when you are, say you're here, but you want to reset it, you can reset it. It'll go back to the original specifications. All right. So again, that will help you answer questions 1 through 10. And so we're going to scroll down to number 11. So now we're looking at the wave simulation. And so in the wave simulation, we have the faucet here, and that'll give you your drops of water. Okay, so you can look at how that changes. And again, you can do that in slow motion or normal motion. You can do the top view or you can do the side view for that. Okay, and that'll show you what the side view looks like. Okay, for that. All right. And then there's other things you can vary. You can vary the frequency of your waves. So let me play that again. And let's start the drops. Okay. You can vary your frequency, your amplitude. Okay. You can also look at the graph of what that looks like. All right. The other thing is you can change where we have sound waves or we can have light waves. All right. So we have water, sound, and light. And then you can also look at the screen or the graph. Okay. And so you can play around with those different variables there. And it's going to be based on whatever the questions that are asked. Okay. So follow the questions. They'll tell you step by step how to manipulate the simulation and then write your information, your observations in the boxes below. If you have any questions as you're going through the lab, then please let me know. Thank you. Have a great night.